In an old video clip that Joe Budden and DJ Akademiks were reacting to, Charlamagne the God and comedian Andrew Schulz were engaged in a heated debate on the Brilliant Idiots podcast about who had the bigger platform, Joe Rogan or The Breakfast Club. Joe Budden and DJ Akademiks were clearly in support of Joe Rogan, with Budden stating that Rogan has a global platform and is on another level. DJ Akademiks agreed, pointing out that Rogan's podcast is downloaded millions of times each month, and he has a massive following on social media. Let's hear what they had to say.
I watched an interesting conversation the other day of we'll talk about it later. Of Schulz and Charlemagne arguing about who's bigger, Rogan or Charlemagne.
Rogan and Charlemagne?
That's what I watched.
That was an argument? A real one?
That's what I watched.
Yo, that's that old age scratching of you, nigga. Stop it. Nah. What was the conversation about?
I almost want to find it on YouTube so you can hear it, but that was the exact conversation. Schulz was saying Joe Rogan is the biggest platform moving. And then Charlemagne said,
"Oh, I did see that.
Bigger than who?"
Where you said what? He was saying the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I disagree with that one.
I disagree too.
You disagree with whose side?
Joe Rogan is the biggest thing in the world.
Clearly.
The end. I don't care what.
I think Joe Rogan is.
I don't care what
basically
anybody's metrics say.
I think he's basically like a late night TV show.
It's just different stratosphere. I don't count him, and that's like you counting Stern. It's different. But I mean, I'll tell you what I pulled from it later. It's rather interesting.
And also, you gotta realize, Schulz is in the podcast lane. So, he's a podcast comedy, which, by the way,
no,
I've seen it.
Don't cape for your man. Don't cape for your man now.
Well, I've always said he's building in a lane to be like some of that hip hop shit. You know, I think he was a little bit more catering to culture. Man, he's UFC. That's Rogan. UFC, all these other things, and I think it's smart. I think it's a great way to get.
It's super smart.
It's a great way to get audience.
It is super smart.
Because here's the thing, this is what all of his hip-hop platforms suffer from. Like, there is a ceiling on hip-hop. The amount of people who want to consume content related to music. Some people, everybody listens to music, but content related to music, there's a ceiling on it, right?
But he's right. I'm low.
And when you inevitably, or when you're a hip-hop platform, you kind of, it's hard to break out of that because people say, no, stay in lane, you're the hip-hop guy. When you kind of, I won't say least, but you kind of dibble and dabble into it, but also you're into all these other subcultures, that's how you become Rogan, right? Where, hey, all you guys who are into, fitness and MMA, come over here.
Yeah,
I talk about sports.
Too.
Hey, y'all political niggas, come over here too, man. We got you. Oh, y'all want jokes? We gonna definitely have everything full of jokes. Sure. I look at that and I was like, because if you look at how, there's a time where I thought that Brilliant Idiots was a better performing podcast than Flagrant 2. And
maybe it was at one point.
Maybe
it was at one point.
Flagrant 2 outperforms pretty much all hip hop. I only always look at Spotify.
Let me ask you a question.
Chart. So, it outperforms all hip hop podcasts.
Let me ask you a question. What you said, I totally agree with, right? Do you think color plays a part in that?
Well, absolutely.
Charlemagne, however, argued that The Breakfast Club has a larger audience. Charlemagne claimed that the show is syndicated on over 100 radio stations and reaches millions of listeners each day. He also highlighted the show's strong presence on social media, with millions of followers on platforms like Instagram and Twitter. Despite the arguments from both sides, it is clear that both Joe Rogan and The Breakfast Club have massive platforms and reach a significant audience. However, it is ultimately up to the individual to decide which one they prefer and which one they feel has more value. Both have their own unique styles and approaches to content creation, and both have made a significant impact in the media and entertainment industry. One of the main points that Joe Budden and DJ Akademiks emphasized in their reaction to the video clip was the global reach of Joe Rogan's podcast. With millions of downloads each month, it is clear that his show is popular not just in the United States, but around the world. Additionally, his social media following is massive, with millions of followers on platforms like Twitter and Instagram. On the other hand, Charlamagne argued that The Breakfast Club has a larger audience because of its syndication on over 100 radio stations and its strong presence on social media. While it is true that the show reaches millions of listeners each day, it is worth noting that the majority of its audience is likely within the United States. Another point that was discussed in the video clip was the content of each show. Joe Rogan's podcast covers a wide range of topics, from politics and current events to sports and entertainment. His conversations with guests are often deep and thought-provoking, and he is known for his willingness to challenge conventional wisdom and ask tough questions. The Breakfast Club, on the other hand, is primarily focused on entertainment and celebrity news. While the show does cover some political and social issues, it is primarily known for its interviews with celebrities and its coverage of the latest gossip and trends in the entertainment industry. In terms of the hosts themselves, both Joe Rogan and Charlamagne the God are well known and respected in their respective fields. Joe Rogan is a former stand-up comedian and mixed martial arts commentator, and he has built up a loyal following over the years with his no-holds-barred approach to discussions and his willingness to speak his mind. Charlamagne the God, on the other hand, is a radio personality and television host who is known for his blunt and often controversial opinions. He has co-hosted The Breakfast Club for over a decade, and he has become a major figure in the entertainment industry through his work on the show and his various other ventures. So therefore, both Joe Rogan and The Breakfast Club have massive platforms and reach a significant audience. While they differ in terms of content and focus, both have made a significant impact in the media and entertainment industry. Ultimately, it is up to the individual to decide.
What I'm saying to you is this about the Schulz-Charlemagne argument. I do believe, and then I'm moving off of you. Anytime you come here, I talk about a bunch of niggas I don't ever talk about this part. But if I pour 1,000% of me into you to build you up and build you up and build you up, because I have been the bigger person with the bigger light and platform to be able to do that. And it then starts to work. And then you move on to greener pastures.
Okay.
Don't come back to me 9 years later and tell me about how your new best friend is so much bigger than me.
That's a good point.
Explain that.
It could be true, though. It's still disrespectful.
So I'm not saying it's not true.
Let me give you an example. I'm on the Joe Budden podcast.
Oh, okay.
I'm on the Joe Budden podcast.
I hear the argument. Do you think that was an undertone in the conversation?
I think there was a lot of edits in that. There was a lot of edits in that. Timely edits. Go back and watch it and pay attention. So? I do this for a living.
No, I did see this.
Go watch. No, but where they were placed. Where they were placed and what they came back in with. Spicy. Now, Rogan is 100% bigger than you. Clip. You come back in with Charlamagne saying, yo, I'm competitive. This does bother me. I'm super proud of you. I helped you get where you're going. I always saw this for your future, but don't come back to me. I'm competitive, nigga. Don't come tell me this nigga's better than me. I felt him. Even if...
Wait, did he say that?
In his own words.
Okay.
In his own words. Go watch it. But I felt him. Even if
it's true, right. Yeah, even if it's true, nigga,
right. What I'm saying to you.
Joe Budden was angry at Andrew Schulz for making such a comparison in public, feeling that Schulz was being ungrateful and trying to publicly humiliate Charlamagne the God. Budden argued that Charlamagne has invested a lot into Schulz's career and has played a vital role in helping him to be more accepted within the black community. Budden also felt that the conversation was edited in a way that made Andrew Schulz look better or possibly put Charlamagne in a bad light. He argued that the full context of the conversation was not shown, and that the video clip was selectively edited to present a misleading view of the discussion. Despite the arguments from both sides, it is clear that both the Joe Rogan podcast and The Breakfast Club have significant reach and influence in their respective fields. Joe Rogan's podcast is downloaded millions of times each month and has a massive following on social media, While The Breakfast Club is syndicated on over 100 radio stations and reaches millions of listeners each day, it is possible that Budden's dislike or disdain toward Schulz stems from this incident, as well as any other interactions or experiences that he may have had with Schulz in the past. However, without more information, it is difficult to determine the exact nature or reasons for Budden's feelings toward Schulz. It is worth noting that both Joe Budden and Andrew Schulz are well-known figures in the entertainment industry, with Budden being a rapper, podcaster, and television personality, and Schulz being a comedian and podcast host. Both have built up a loyal following over the years and have achieved success in their respective fields. In terms of their personal beliefs and values, Budden and Schulz may have different perspectives on various issues, which could potentially contribute to any dislike or disdain that Budden may have towards Schulz. However, without more information, it is difficult to say for sure. Despite any potential dislike or disdain that Budden may have towards Schulz, it is important to remember that individuals are entitled to their own opinions and feelings, and it is not necessarily productive or healthy to focus on negative emotions towards others. It is important to respect the boundaries and opinions of others, even if we do not agree with them.